Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. This is Kenneth Davis, and this is Southern Conversations, the Sunday Soiree edition. We are featuring one of our featured business today is Modish of Savannah. Its owner and CEO is McCall Sims. Her website is www.modishsavannah.com for all of the new and up to date designs in which she has. She has a clothing line. She's also a fashion stylist, in which she also is now getting into photo shoot coordinating. So if you need your assistance, inbox her. Her name is McCall Sims of Savannah. We're also featuring Prayer Prep. Prayer Prep is by Elder Janie Flowers. It is prayer from Prayer Essentials. Her prayer prep is a 15-minute session every Thursday on Facebook Live. It lasts for 15 minutes and is a power packed session. Join her. In addition, we have Divine Whispers Ministries present Vision Board Breakfast, 1 year anniversary of Prayer Essentials. The registration fee is $40. The prayer journey and guide will be your prayer journey guide, your vision board supplies, and a gourmet breakfast will be provided for the fee of $40. Prizes and giveaways. The address of it will be the Whitfield Center at 106 East 37th Street, Savannah, Georgia 31406. That is with Elder Janie Flowers. You can check her out. So tonight, everyone, thank you for joining us. We do have a special guest on tonight. She is an amazing. When I met her, she was an amazing person, and not just I did not just connect with her. I connected with her just the way that she spoke, and it was just far beyond her years. Her name is Chastity Ortiz. She is CD or CE Ortiz. She is a professional business development coordinator, and she is amazing. And I would just like to bring her on to really get to the insights in which we were speaking of. So we'll be bringing on Miss Ortiz, y'all. So she'll be coming on. So, hi,
Hi,
Chad. How are you?
I am really, really good. How about yourself?
Good, good. I'm doing amazing, amazing. Thank you for shop. Thank you for coming by with us today. Just to give a insight, this is a Sunday soiree in which we just want to get over like the grief development and our healing, and not just saying our processes, our problems, but to even help with our solution and our solution base. So we are going to
Absolutely.
just give some scenarios. Chastity is also a clinician, and she just naturally just says stuff, and you just she answers a question. She asks you the question with the answer. So we're going to take the opportunity. We're going to talk about a few things. So if you have any questions, make sure that you are posting your questions about it. We just want to make sure that we are in touch with you and you just see what we're doing. Hi, Sheila. How are you? Yeah, so if you do have any questions that you would like to have,
Hi,
we're going to
Sheila.
talk about healing and going into our development. Even if you have any COVID questions and what you would like for us to ask, because we'll be dealing with a lot of stuff tonight. So, Chastity, there are so many things in which we are dealing with as far as our healing and our development after, especially after such great loss and loss of our loved ones. How do you suggest that we move forward? Why? No, well, let me ask this question. Why, as African Americans, we don't pull forward without healing? Why do you think it's such a
It's
resistance?
because I, I, I think it's because it's not normalized in our culture to really go through the process of healing, what that looks like, seeking mental health resources. A lot of times it's out of fear. Also, we don't want to be perceived as having an issue or a problem because a lot of times we feel that we can support We can support each other in a non leadership role. So we're more caretakers than the ones who actually provide. We look so much to ourselves as caretakers and actually the ones needing support. And sometimes it isn't until we are at a certain stage or a point as African Americans that we seek out support. Actually, it's not even that time. We actually someone sees it in us. You know, and the change in our behaviors and how we respond to things, antisocial behavior. The list goes on.
The list goes on. I do, and even sometimes that I see that in the African American community, that as our family, as our culture, that we sometimes worry about everyone else's healing and neglect ours. And when it's time for us to move forward our healing, we have so much backlash and we have so much residual that's left that we don't even deal with what our actual pain. Because then we get by ourselves and everybody's gone, all of the families back where they are, and life has begun, and now we really feel that yearning or that emptiness of it, and then we get into hopelessness.
Yes, we do.
As our community, we don't want to address it because, as you said, but then sometimes we don't want people to think that we're weak. We want to be as saying we're strong. Grieving is not a bad thing. Grieving is really one of the most cleansing things about yourself because it'll allow you to go through your steps of healing. It's just so much about grieving that as being, you can't really identify it and we can't really put a timeline on it because everyone goes through that process different.
And I completely agree with that. And everyone, when we think about grief, and when we are actually going through the emotional aspect of it, we normalize it by putting it in the back of our minds. Sometimes I think about that. You know, I'm not going to focus on but it shows up in different ways. In social, how we react to others. And now that's another topic.
Okay, so especially during this COVID time, we see a lot of grief going on, and people think that as we're grieving for actual physical loss, sometimes of the loss of a loved one to say the deceased, but then sometimes we have this separation that has been going on, that we have been losing on so much, and we're still seeing it, just like you said, we see it in so many ways. So what do you give me some of the ways in which we do identify it?
Okay. So the ways that we do identify our grieving process?
That it comes out.
Okay. Yeah, well, in some ways, as well as that, we just like you were saying earlier, we pretty much go back into our solitude. We it's so now, with COVID and these shelter-in-place orders have normalized us staying indoors. We may not reach out, on the phone as you used to. Some of us may, depending on if you have social media, you may say certain things on social media, but then you may not post anymore. And your post may be different. You may not show up. You in social settings. You may not follow through with commitments. There's a lot of different ways that it shows up. When you're a parent and you have a loved one that has passed away, it may show up in the way that you parent. And that's a whole other ballgame. That's another live.
Yes. And then even I do see it now as we call padding. That means that additional weight, that grief weight. And when we don't get it out and we don't have conversations, because now it's a new cliche of saying, I'm doing a mental health check on you. I'm doing a mental health check. But another question I ask, when you get that answer, what are you doing with it when someone is not okay?
Right, exactly.
What happens when you give that mental health check on my friend, or I give a mental health check on with someone, what happens when you don't know what to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, what happens? What is
Yeah.
your next move? Go ahead.
And it has to be, and it has to be more than, hey, how are you doing today?
Mm-hmm.
So what you can say is, what did you do today? And you know,
Mm-hmm.
the individual may or may not say, well, you know, they say what outside today. They may not have been outside, because a lot of times grief, you know, it's depression. Part of grieving is depression, and you may not want to be
Mm-hmm.
around anyone. You may not want to, you know, enjoy those things that you once enjoyed before, like shopping. You know, although we're in COVID world, you know, we're still putting on our masks, and we're, you know, putting in the safety protocols that we and that we should, as well as those places that we normally visit. So if you ask those specific questions about what they're doing, you know, it kind of opens up the door to, like, well, you know what can, well, why don't you and I go take a walk down, you know, at the park, or at the, you know, at Lake Mare, because we're in Savannah, Lake Mare or something.
Mm-hmm.
Things out. But you know, so there's certain questions that you ask, and the way that you ask and the questions that you ask has to be a little bit more so than how are you today? How was work?
Mm-hmm.
You're working, you know. A lot of us are
Right.
working from home, or doing certain things.
That we also see too in people that are functional depressions, because you know the necessity sometimes meets the need over supersedes the need other than the depression. So when you end up looking at someone, you said, well, Chastity, this is just, you know, I'm having a rough day, and I'm just gonna just push through today regardless of what. And that may be a heavy day in which you physically can do it, but mentally that you can do. But it's just knowing how to hear the triggers and saying, okay, instead of going for staying in for lunch, let's go outside and let's do a walk. Let's walk down to let's go to the mall for lunch. Let's go to, just like you said, to Lake Mare. Let's do something public and which can keep us, even if a person chooses not to wear a mask. You drive your car, let's be at a public place. Let's be out somewhere where we can still enjoy each other, because I think that we also neglect the human relation part of it. That we do miss the human relational part, as even being on a Zoom meeting, that's still not good enough. Sometimes you need to be in the actual sphere of a person in which you can feed off their energy, especially their positive energy, because you can get it from the telephone, you can get it from a Zoom, but the actual presence of someone that you can feed off of their positive energy, and even they may just be there, have been praying for you, but the intimacy of just being, you know, the relational part of it is just a great thing that we don't deal with in our steps. We want to alienate, and when that comes about, I think the best part is whatever it tells you to do the opposite.
Yes, absolutely. When it says stay in, it's time to go out. Right? It says,
Right.
I don't feel like doing this. Guess what? Do it 10 times better than what you would have done.
Right.
You know, you say.
So so I know, and one of the topics in which I've been really dealing with, and a lot of conversation is about COVID safety. We have so many people that have died during this new COVID way, of being stay in place, shelter in place, and we cannot have the traditional things in which we've had, and even the parties, the uh, the way that it used to be. Now it's going to change. We have to do more public things, even our services, as far as to be a graveside or a position that they would have to do, and a service that would have to be outside, or maybe have limitations to it. So as we go through this is sometimes a very hard place, because if you have a person that they have been a church person and now they have to go and do a graveside, or this person did something and in a certain segment not to do it, a lot of blame sometimes go, but you have to realize you have to accept what is offered to you. They live their life. It's just a building, and it would be amazing just to do, because I have about 7 people that have the same. My mom's been in the church all her life, and she's 60, she's 80 years old, and we can't have it. There's so much resentment of it, but that also plays a part of the healing process. That I say, the anger of, we couldn't do this for you. It did. Why did this have to happen at this time? So there are 2 steps in which they've been going through in the healing process, as far as asking why, and then the anger part of, I wish it would have been doing. And that is the part that I think that we should continue to we should continue to push people through their healing process. On Friday, we went over like steps of it, but there are so many parts that we go through the healing process that we don't realize we are in it. But my biggest thing is not to get stuck.
Yes. And that's why when you say you don't feel like doing something, do it anyway. Right? And if you said, I don't feel like doing that at all, do it 10 times more, 10 times better. It's definitely a process, and I really agree with the part of connecting to those who also may be grieving as well. Because when you're talking about, being a church-going person, and then it's a mutual individual that you may connect with that has passed away, and so that's your community. And how can you guys get together and help each other through the process? Because it's collective trauma, actually. It's a collective healing process, in a sense. Although it's personal, but it can be collective as well. You can do different things.
Right. I do feel that we as and we really kind of limited to a male or a female or even a black or white perspective, but now our order has been just changed as far as our healing process. But I do believe that in every process there has to be steps, and regardless of how many steps that you have taken, or during the time in which you have, and during the time that you're going through it, that you're asking, what is my next? What is my next? There has to be not just a step, but a completed step, because you don't want to sit up there and you go miss a step and you have to regenerate and go see it again.
Right.
Hi, Linda. But I do believe that we should always believe in our healing process, because sometimes, even now, we're getting ready to go into the holiday seasons, and people don't want to cook. People don't want to prepare for the holidays. They don't want to do the holidays, and it's completely understandable. This is not a forcible thing of the holidays to actually do, but I'm also a person that 100% believe in a time in which you need to embrace those that are embracing you. So if you don't feel like doing the holidays, get with a friend, get with someone that's, if you're going to be safe, you have to be safe during this time. If you've been not being a little reckless, and when I say reckless, if you have not been wearing your mask, washing your hands, doing the essentials, be very careful as you go to it. Maybe go to a barbecue, do something different, rent a hotel room, get a big room at a hotel, and you and your family just do that way, and y'all just have a sleepover at the hotel. Do something different. I think the footprint that we make is what is the thing that's going to be lasting, because although something is bad, there's always something flowering to it. That's why I always think about a rose when I explain something to people. There are some things that are painful and hurtful and detrimental, but there's always something that's beautiful that comes from it. So you should never underestimate your pain that you're going through. Something beautiful comes from it, because it was still birthed in a relationship of some type, and there was some type of beauty in it. So never diminish your pain. So never diminish the relationship, and really just go through it.
Absolutely. And the person that you're remembering is honorable. And they're worthy of you to remember them.
Right.
And so
I so
you're honoring
believe.
them through that too.
So just a question. All right. So if you are a person that you do professional development and developmental during this COVID process, there are steps as far as in our profession that especially becoming doing lives and because we're going to do a plethora of things today because we want to be able to reach everyone during this COVID time. There are ways professionally that we have to address things. um I am a person myself personally. I am not, and to know me in the past, I was reactive. Now, the person who I am presently, I am non-reactive. I don't react to things that are going on. So, in this COVID environment, I'm like, okay, think, don't speak, process, and then speak. These are steps that it takes work to do that. During this process, do you see how the aggressions, and all of that has occurred in people?
I have. This has been a time. This COVID time has been a time for everyone, and it has definitely been an eye opener for a lot of things personally and professionally for a lot of us. Eye opening in terms of racism and that's a whole topic amongst other things and what that has to take place, right? And it's important that we use this time of COVID to really evaluate, self-evaluate, and do some internal work. And so, and with that being said, I said that really is that we have to be very, we have to first acknowledge that there's an issue. That's the first step in any process, is acknowledging that there's a need that's not being met. And what is that need? So it's a lot of self-reflection. And then when we self-reflect, we can actually start that process, whether it's in the healing or whether it's in our work environment, or in our social environment, how you want to show up, who you want to show up, certain things, and that's okay. And we have to be okay with that, because guess what? Your whys. You have to let your yeses be yeses and your no's be no's, but that's another conversation. But knowing who you are is the most important thing, and that's what COVID is showing you. Because a lot of times we just going through emotions. We go through experiences, such as the healing process, is what we're talking about today, and we. Like I said, we normally put things in the back of our mind, these things that that causes us heavy emotions, and then we keep going through life, going through every day to day, and it shows up in different ways, like I stated earlier. But the thing is, this COVID time has allowed us to, for the most part, stop and really evaluate the things that are really affecting us. So, with the microaggressions and all of those things, it's great at how you implement the stop, wait, and think, because to really get to the best, there's no solution. It's just learning, right? And it can be a teaching moment. It could be a teaching moment, or for both you and individuals, because it shows you how much what kind of person you are, and it also shows you that everyone doesn't think like you and doesn't see the world like you, or it's just that they are oblivious, and it's up to them to want to make the necessary internal work that they need.
I do agree. I do. I'm 100% in agreement of how you're presented, because I don't want to make a my footprint that I leave on the world. I want to change some of them. I mean, I've already made, but I just want to make something different as far as my footprint to because I mean my nose itch. I apologize. Um, it was just their decisions, especially during this COVID and in our healing, in my healing process. I realized some things I could make a change on. I mean, I may needed to tweak some areas, and some areas I needed to actually make a physical change, because it did not help me. It did not help how I presented things, or it didn't help me how I presented myself. So I've
Mhm.
learned some things as far as and just this is also included to the healing process, that you have to realize sometimes the problematic parts of it. And that part is sometimes, it was a lot of the times, it, about 70%, it was me. It was,
Mhm.
I became a part of it that was not productive, and my non-productive part made it non-effective. So
Yes.
I've learned how to maximize my moments. I learned how to step into my moment, not to react in my moment, but to use it as a reflection. And just like you said, use every moment as a teachable moment, because it may not have taught them, but it taught me. So these are parts of this, that's a part of my healing process, because when we
Mm.
understand our healing process, some of those processes are not just when the death of a person, or the losing of a job, or the losing of a relationship. Some of those processes link themselves to trauma that have occurred in past years. They go back to
Yes.
childhood, teen years, and early adulthood, but it manifests itself as being that part. And when you see
Mhm.
that bad part, then you begin to see other things seeping in. And it's your time at that time to deal with each individual part, to compartmentalize everything. You have to put everything in a such of a order and deal with it, because you're if it comes up now and it did not come up 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years, it's going to come up again. So if you identify it and deal with each individual part, instead of doing it as a plate and laying it all, but just like a plate, a to-go plate, give its own compartment. Show it how it should show up in your life. That's how I feel.
Yes. And guess what? And you know what? It's going to come back to you, because it's going
Right.
to because you're teaching it how you're going to deal with it. And when it shows up in little ways that it will,
Hmm.
you won't be you'll realize, wow, there has been a shift in my mind, in my spirit, and visually see how I visually see it. Because you can see yourself in like a third person. So it's like an out of body experience. And you're gonna say, you know what? If this would have happened so and so years ago, then I would have reacted in a way that was not
Hmm.
healing for me. That was not
Right.
effective
And,
for me.
and even beneficial. That we see it
Exactly.
as being every healing has its benefit. Healings
Hmm.
have its benefits, and we have to maximize on those times of our process. We connected to, I try to bring in COVID, because a lot of people have, COVID has touched everybody,
Hmm.
everybody in every way. No one can say they have not been affected by COVID, because we have shutdowns. We've been in the house. We have stay in place. We have had deaths. We have jobs. We have
Yes.
hours cut down. We have service in which we cannot attend, even services that cannot be provided for us when we have it. Because remember, our world was open 24 hours a day. We're just getting to it being open till 10 o'clock now. So we have
Yes.
now, we used to shut down at 7 o'clock, and it was a ghost town until 7 a.m. the next morning. So how is it going to affect us moving forward is our healing process. That was a time in which we had a chance to work with our families and to be home. to not go to work. Some people were getting unemployment and some people weren't getting unemployment. So some people just had to struggle through this time. So as we move forward, we have to make some drastic changes. We have to make some drastic changes because as we move forward to after this COVID world, um, we're going to have to deal with some things as far as our losses, our losses of jobs,
Yeah.
because if there's going to be a great influx of career, because the world as we left it is not the world as we see it now. The world as we see it now is completely different. So a lot of people have does not have the adaptability of dealing with that great change of when we go back, or if I have to look for a job, what will I be doing then? What do you suggest?
Right.
Well, part of the healing process is showing up for yourself, right? And being honest with, where you are, and acknowledging that there's an issue and there's a goal. Also, there may be an issue that's not stuck there, right? You have options and you have possibilities, and so and with this COVID world, this is a great time to really tune in on what your natural abilities and skills are, what you like to do, and build from that. And that's healing yourself as well. Yeah, I've seen it where individuals have started businesses for themselves, and it has been one of the best healing aftermath they've ever had.
Yeah,
So
because as you said, a part of healing is also awareness. We are now aware of what we need and what we're going to settle for. I do see a lot of people that are being entrepreneurs. They're launching businesses, and some people are launching multiples of businesses because the need is consistently there. There are some needs. There are some marketing that we are in place of doing of what we have, and finding our value of who we are and what we do, because for so many years we have done it for everyone, and now it's our time to really do it for ourselves. So I think this will be an excellent opportunity to you, especially to find out what you do, find out if you like to be in front of the camera. Of course, this is my thing. This is my new thing. Yeah, I don't mind doing presentations. I don't mind what I do. I try to be the best at it. I am very I'm not afraid. So I'm not afraid of people. So it allowed me to be able to do something like this, or even to go in front of people to do presentations. Um, we do have so many creative things about us as far as anybody, not just African Americans, but anybody. We need to take what we do and we need to capitalize on it, because these are gifts in which have been given to us by God. Now, if you take your gifts, and there are some gifts that have the ability of reproducing themselves for our finances. I have seen so many people that have really and it's just this one word that change that will change you. Well, this one statement: you have to believe in yourself.
yes, you do.
And when they get that belief system to say, okay, I can do this. My candy apples can make it. Because I know Ebony, and I remember her first candy apples, Ebony Clark. She is Ecouture Sweets. She had started with candy apples on Halloween. She wanted to make her children some candy apples. And they were not the prettiest as what she never think, but they were very, very good. And because of her craft, we're now in, I think, 5 years of her doing it. And now she's teaching people how to do candy apples. She does have a creative eye. So it's just that I believe in myself. How can we help with that during this COVID experience, Chastity?
All right. So as I stated before, this is a great time to hone in and self-awareness, taking in a inventory of what skills and abilities you already have naturally. A lot of us have natural abilities with arts and crafts, knitting, and sewing, and creating different baskets, earrings. There's a lot of creative niches out there, and we're all creative people. We just haven't pushed ourselves to the level that we need to get to yet. But it's a process as well. There's a lot of unpacking that has to take place, and it's on the healing journey, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
And it may take some time, but the thing is, you can do it. And knowing what your affirmations are. Being sure about your why. WYS. Sorry, WHYS.
Right. And what does that acronym mean?
Oh no, just your whys. Just your whys.
Okay.
Okay. Just knowing your whys. Why are you doing this? Why is this important to me? Why would this affect anyone else? Or why would this affect me? Why is this important to me? What value does it bring to me?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know what that is, because it'll make you, when you are finding out what these things are, understanding your skills and abilities, you will feel different in your spirit. It will shine bright, and every you can see it.
Okay. I so believe that. I so know that we do have ways in which we should be the person, our whys. Why do we do it? I try, especially you said something that now have become a new popular thing is affirmations. We have to first believe in who we are. And sometimes because of negativity, we have to cancel it out with positive words and our positive insight and what have been said to us and what have been said. Because sometimes the first thing is we have to cancel out some of the negative words and behaviors and which have been presented to us. But then it does come out and it appears to be, we have to reflect on how it's going to move forward positively. I do affirmations a lot. I do think about myself and in a positive light and how I'm going to change my dynamics and how I present myself to myself. And that's what I use my time of affirmations, of how I'm going to present myself to myself, and then I'll present myself to the world. In addition to, and that works good in our healing process, because these are steps. I want to interchange this because we're getting ready to move. Today is the last day of the healing process, and we got a surprise for tomorrow as we begin to start, because as Chastity already did, it's affirmations. So next we'll be talking about affirmations on Monday. But as Chastity was going, it's so much importance that we do miss, that we don't take a part of, that there's so much more and so many more avenues and so much more of the world as we see it now that we can actually change. And it's just by us, by the way we think, by the way we present ourselves, by the way we see ourselves, by what we hear, even by the way we grieve. We did go over the grief part, but I do just want you to know that, remember, everyone is different. There's no timeline for your grief. There's no timeline for your pain. We wanted to add in so much more because sometimes, especially during this COVID time, we have to watch how much pressure we put on people, because it is a time. Remember, something could be going wrong with someone and you don't even know, because we don't, first, especially if you don't frequent someone, by the time your next conversation with them, they could be at home for a while and they could have committed suicide. Because if you haven't talked to someone and your frequency is not for every 3 months and something have happened, and by the time anything could have happened and they could have been gone and buried. So Mental health checks, knowing you have to know what to ask. When you're doing your mental health checks, know what to ask them. Then having an appropriate solution. Sometimes it's getting them out of the house. And give as little advice as you possibly can. If it has not been solicited, don't give advice. If they didn't ask you your advice, don't give it. Because sometimes that's not what they need. If a person is in a place, be inspired to hear, not go by what you would have done. Be inspired to knowing the words that I speak to them. This may be the first word, this may be the best word, but this may be the worst word in which has been spoken to them. Don't make them relive their bad experience. Their bad experience. It may be a wrong, it may be a hurt, it may be something they did. Don't re-victimize them with their pain. Because it victimizes and it also vilify the incident. So it makes it a villain. So if they've messed up on a part, and you may say, well, that may be something that you may need to deal with in your private time of repenting or asking for forgiveness for yourself and the person, because you have to also forgive yourself. And then walking out your complete healing. I do think that walking out your complete healing in all of its steps, and just because you're sad and you're hurt and you miss them and all of that, it makes you no less of a person. It makes you no smaller of a Christian. So Chastity, as we begin to wrap this up this evening, this has been an amazing. She inspires me so much. She is very, very wise, very wise. She's a very, very professional young person, young woman that I met. She's very inspiring. We have this thing that we call, it's called the B of the B, and we'll tell it as we go as far, because she's, as you see, she is real good, and we have a little song that we sing, but she is very grounded. She's very professional. She is a facilitator of professional development. So if you are looking to enhance the way that your business is doing something, enhance the way your life is something, enhance the way your office is doing something, give her an opportunity to sit down with you and your staff to help to bring you part of some of those small essential parts that they may have missed or they may just not know. Give her an opportunity. She is CEO Ortiz. She is as I say, a clinician and a professional development coordinator. Thank you so much, Chastity. If you hold on a minute, we're going to end this show and we'll be back. So thanks. As we move forward, everyone, thank y'all for allowing me to be on with you tonight. This is an amazing journey that we go on, not just individually, but we collectively go through this. I do believe that we're doing an amazing job, that we will be better people, that we can make a better impact on our world. Let's also remember the information about prayer prep, in which we have the prayer essentials with Elder Janie Flowers on Thursday. She also has the Vision Board, Divine Whispers Ministry, or Vision Board breakfast, and that breakfast will be on October 5th. Also, give McCall Sims and give her an opportunity to enhance the way that you currently do what you do as far as your wardrobe. She can help you to take on some of that the staleness or some of the inconsistencies out. So give them all a call, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching. As you know, tomorrow we'll be doing affirmations, and I'll be showing you how to begin doing your affirmations. Thank you so much. I look forward